What is the one thing, if you bury it, will disappear? I was reading John Foley, this Jesuit, and he was talking about this paradox. What is the one thing that if you bury it will disappear? It's love. And love is the one thing, if you give it away, will grow. I think that that's what this story is about. We have this master in the story, and it says he gives his possessions. It says it's not that he gives some of his possessions, but we hear that he gives his possessions to the servants, to the slaves. He entrusts his slaves with his possessions. And he says that he gives 5 talents to one, 2 talents to another, and finally one to just one of the servants. And we might think that a talent is just a little bit of money, but a talent is a whole life's wage, like $1 million. So he's given away what is it, $8 million to these servants, that he's entrusting basically his life to these servants. And I think like that one servant, I can be afraid to trust that I can give it away and grow it, and that I can be focused on not afraid that I'm going to lose it in my life. And so I got to hold on to it. It's hard to trust that paradox that if I give it away, it will increase. But could you imagine your whole life, not giving love away, holding on to it for yourself? What a waste. It's interesting how this servant with the 1 talent views his master. He views his master as harsh and demanding. True, you can look at it that way, that one servant. But I imagine the other servants, one of the ways they might be looking at it is that the master is lavish and generous. He's crazy. He's giving them all the money. He's just so generous. Certainly, you can look at the master as harsh and demanding. Or you can see it the other way. Whenever I view God as harsh and demanding, my life always gets worse. And whenever I view God as lavish and generous, my life grows. I can just trust that. I wonder how God must feel when he just pours out so many gifts in our life and we believe that we are cursed and we complain. We are nothing, but God has given us something, giving us so much. And how we can share that something with others. Certainly. The challenge is for us to share the gifts that we have been given so that they may grow. I think about it when we feel like we do not have enough to give. Oftentimes in those situations, I ask God what I can give. And sure enough, something always comes to mind that I can give in those situations. Or what about when we feel like what we have to give isn't good enough? The challenge is to give it away anyway to that person. what we feel isn't good enough, God so often makes good enough. Or how about when we are in heartache, heartbreak, and grief? The temptation is always to withdraw. And I'm not saying that we don't take extra special care of ourselves in those times. Yes, the challenge is to do that. But the challenge is still to be willing to give ourselves, to be willing to share ourselves. That actually, when we share ourselves with another human being, share our grief, that the grief begins to subside. And we find that we are not alone and that somebody loves us. The challenge for us is to be willing to trust that pattern, that paradox, that if we give what we have, it will increase in our life.